Okay, let's talk about what types of data you can collect with your quiz. All this data is going to be zero party or declared data, whichever term you feel like using, as long as you have those features turned on within the Interact Quiz Builder. All this data is going to be data that you own as a business, that you have the legal right to use. Definitely check with your professional to make sure you're doing all that correctly. But once you get it into the platform, that is your data and it's just free and clear. All these problems that we're having with data and tracking, all that kind of stuff. We've been doing this for 10 years and we've never touched any of that in terms of like the third party and the cookies and that kind of junk. We've always just had a platform where people can create quizzes. If someone takes your quiz and chooses to opt in and declares that they give you their data, you can now use that. So let's look at what types of data you're going to gather and how you can act on that. So at a glance, when we start in our Interact Analytics, we're going to see a breakdown graph here of views, starts, completions, and leads. This will just give us a funnel that we can really quickly look at and see how our quiz is performing. This is our quiz that we use on our blog, and I want to highlight this because the conversion rate here is good for us, but depending on what industry you're in, your conversion rate metrics are going to be very different. So 9.4% of people who start this quiz end up becoming a lead, which is great. That's about 4x what we were getting with our previous opt-in on our blog, which is where this quiz lives. It lives as a pop-up on our blog. So before we were getting about 50-ish opt-ins a month. Now we're getting 200 plus. So great for us. But depending on your industry, right, you're going to want that conversion rate to be 30, 40, 50, 60%. So really just an example here of benchmarking against yourself. A lot of people ask us, what's the best opt-in rate? And the answer is basically whatever is good for you. And you want to just benchmark it against whatever you're doing before. So that's a quick thing there in terms of how that works. And really cool here, we can just see this data. That's the main thing we want to look at our main dashboard. And then I'm going to jump over to the questions and answer data here, which is where we'll be able to see survey style responses of how people answer each question, what percentage answer each way. This is so cool because you're basically getting the same data that you get on a survey if you send out a survey, but you don't have to entice people to take the quiz. They like taking quizzes. People enjoy it. It's fun. And there's other videos on how to make sure that your quiz is enjoyable to take and people will actually want to take it. But once you get this data in here, it's incredibly powerful. And I've seen people who are in e-commerce who create product lines based on what their customer preferences are from their quiz responses. For us, we use it for a lot of content. So informing what content we're going to create and who our customers are. And you can just play with the questions that are in your quiz too. We swap them out so that we can, gather more data about who our customers are, what their interests are, what they care about. And it's really powerful because when you're speaking to your customers, whether it's through content or on your website or in your calls or whatever it is, you're able to actually speak to what it is they care about. And, there's just different examples I'll scroll through here so you can see kind of what our questions are so that you can get an idea of the data that you'll be able to gather. It's also going to tell you how many people have viewed this question and how many people answered. So the engagement score here, like this one, for example, super high. But you can see if a certain question on your quiz is not doing so well and you might need to modify it and shorten it up or lengthen it, whatever it is. So that is the question and answer data. And then there's the results data. So this is going to tell you how many people got each of the outcomes of your quiz, which is really good because you can also see how many leads came from the people that got that outcome. So what you would look at here is, let's say for our example, our quiz is basically putting you into an industry. And let's say one industry just has a really high opt-in rate for us. That's curious. There would be a lot more that we'd want to dig into that. And I have seen examples of that with quizzes where one industry or one outcome has an outlier conversion rate in terms of people opting in. So then you want to dig into that and figure out why, and it's just going to give you awesome data there again. So super powerful. And then in our advanced tab, this is where we'll be able to see our total aggregated events. So views, starts, completions, and leads per day. This is, pretty typical flow. Like during the weekdays, it's more, weekends, it's less. But maybe you'll find something really interesting here. Like, let's say Fridays, everybody's taking your quiz. You know what that might tell you is you should do more social posts on Fridays because your customers are active. I don't know why it would be on Fridays, but that would be the thing. You can also see your conversion rate by day. Again, maybe people are just more, I don't know, amped up to buy stuff or opt in or whatever on certain days. And sometimes that's actually really meaningful. The time and day that you post things, especially with algorithms, does matter. So that's potential there. Now, the last screen I want to look at is an example of a actual customer. And so this is going to show you what they actually got and per lead. So per person who opts in, you can see all their answers and which quiz result they got. So that's just really powerful because you're able to just kind of see how exactly they answered each thing. You can get a profile for each person, and that's incredible because it's just a awesome thing to be able to see. And potentially you can use this as a follow-up call, especially in coaching. People do this where it's like, let's take a look at this and see what your answers are. So you have a profile, and this is all just stored right within the Interact platform. So those are all the examples of the types of data that you can collect using your quiz. Again, it's just so powerful. There's so much data in there. It's pretty much exactly like what you'd get from a survey. But again, people like taking the quiz. They're going to opt in and potentially even share it with other people. So just kind of a crazy experience, the fact that you're able to learn all this without having to give anything away other than a great experience for the quiz taker. So these are the zero party declared data attributes that you can collect with a quiz. Highly recommend using this as much as possible. Learning about your users, there's nothing better than having a really great idea of who's using your product and why, because it will just make everything else in your business better. So definitely jump into this. If you do want to build a quiz, you can go to our website, tryinteract.com, start a free trial, get something up and running, talk to an expert about how to formulate the right questions and that kind of stuff so that you get the most data and have the best experience for your customers. So good luck with your quizzing.